What is up, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube? Austin in China coming at you live from Chengdu. Yeah, doing the live stream from home this time. Don't usually do a lot of these live streams. Today I thought I would kind of go through the anatomy of a bike ride in China. So the title here is I go biking in the countryside in China, and sometimes it's not pretty, and that is true. Sometimes you get out into the countryside and it's absolutely beautiful. It is gorgeous. It's everything that you want it to be. But sometimes, and especially in recent years, as Chengdu has kind of risen through the ranks of second tier cities and has become more of a first tier city, things are not as pretty as they used to be. The countryside is sort of developing and it's modernizing. Things are being knocked down. So what I'm going to do is take you through the last two bike rides that I went on out into what I thought would be villages. But the last two rides were not so nice. There were some nice moments, but a lot of not nice things. So what we're going to do is kind of walk through kind of what happens on an average bike ride outside of a major Chinese city. So yeah, that's because you live in the middle of a city, right? As a foreigner, you're living in the middle of a city, a gigantic city usually, a city with millions and millions of people, right? And you've got to have the patience, first of all, to just get out of the city. And you have to, I'm going to mute it, and you have to like struggle to get through all of these like overpasses and underpasses, and you got to deal with traffic, and you've got to deal with like people also, because there are also people kind of biking with you, because there are a lot of cyclists in Chengdu, and yeah, you've got to just get through all that smog, and then as you get outside of the cities and things like this, like there are these little bits of kind of niceness where you cross over a few rivers and a few canals and stuff like that. And then you start to see some weird architecture, and then like the roads start to get a little bit wider and that sort of thing. But it's not fun. It's not really fun. And this was quite fun. In the northeast part of Chengdu, there is a bit where we were kind of confused. We go down this ramp and then we end up in this weird little street, and we're not really sure what's going on here. Bought a couple things, then we found out we actually have to go in the like underpass that's cars only, so we've got to sort of break the law a little bit and go like through this way. And it's not just us, there are other e-bikes as well, and there are some cool little paintings and all that, and it's just like, man, this just doesn't feel right. And that is kind of typical as you're trying to get outside of one of these Chinese cities, right? It's just, yeah, it's hard to film because I remember thinking like, this doesn't feel right. I don't like the way that this is going. And it's so you also got to go with so much construction. There's so much, like, hold on, like I want to stop right here. Man, this is one of the parts that's not, it's really not nice about trying to get out of the city, because as you get into the outskirts, they're doing so much work in a lot of cities that I've been to in the last couple of years. But yeah, Chengdu especially, there's so much construction going on everywhere around. So these green walls have been driving me crazy the last in 2 or 3 years ago. This was like nothing, pretty much. There was nothing really out here. And then you get into a nice little pocket where there's a nice little cycling path. There's a little river there. There's people walking down. That's fun. And then next block over is a caravan of construction trucks. There's just so many construction trucks and building sites and this and that, and they're kicking up all this dust. And then you go through this place, which, according to the street view, used to be fields, and then both sides gray walls or green walls, and then you get through this. I mean, it's so bad just trying to get out of the city. It's all these like growing pains. Really, it's just a lot of growing pains just to get out of the city. You see where the city's developing, because where you live in China, it's like where you live in China, they're going to be, generally speaking, bigger cities. They're going to be a little more developed, but when you try to get out of them into the countryside, there's a weird, like, I call it sort of the gray zone. There's a gray zone that exists where things are not super nice. And maybe I can share my screen. Because, yeah, like Chengdu city proper is sort of in here. We've got the first ring road, and then we've got the second ring road right here. And then the third ring road is sort of the end of Chengdu. And then you have fourth ring road. So 1, 2, 3, 4 different rings that go around the city. And in between, like, probably like the 2.5 ring to the fourth ring is kind of that weird gray zone. It's a weird kind of gray zone around Chengdu, especially is is part of it. So like right here, you can see this is the highway that we were on. We shouldn't have been on, but eventually it kind of split like this. So yeah, not super fun. But what's going to happen is as we kind of get through these areas, it'll get, it'll get a little nastier for a while, but then we'll be able to start seeing some kind of interesting stuff, like some more interesting stuff, but it does kind of require some selective editing. And that's sort of the next thing that I want to talk about. Yeah, you can see it's hard to hold a camera and do all this. So now, after this road, we started to sort of see a little bit of countryside, and this is where selective editing comes in. So let's stop right. So let's talk about something that happens with every single vlogger. Every single vlogger, China vlogger or not China vlogger, does this. They have to decide what to show you. The vlogger has to decide what makes a good story. Like when I mean story, I don't mean like making up a story, right? I mean like in terms of like a first act, second act, third act. What is the story that you want to tell? What's the tone of the video? What goes into that? And so going to be, and my videos are usually pretty nice. So I try to have it something like this. Like I was starting with a shot out in the countryside, and we're introducing. So you're probably wondering like how I got here. Let's take you back along the route, and I was going to Tarantino it, right? My microphone didn't work, and so I have to do it sort of this way. So I kind of show the countryside, and then I talk about, hey, there's water running in from this aqueduct, which branches off from this river, and this and that, and anyone can be. And here's another one. Here was another little piece. Okay, so I have these nice little bits of the countryside, but then let's think about the entire picture. What's the entire picture? Because this is all well and good, right? Look at this. This is beautiful. Selective with their editing. Nice Chinese countryside. And then you zoom out. Construction truck. Closed buildings. Half torn down. Dusty road to about nowhere. Yeah, and that's a choice that you have to make, and it feels weird having to make that choice. Because yeah, I could zoom in and I could find that, because that was a nice shot right at the very beginning. At the very beginning, this is the same, no, these are two different trips actually. That's a nice shot, right? I like that. But when you want to zoom out. But it feels dishonest, right? It feels dishonest to do that. Half torn down, dusty road to about nowhere. Everyone can be selective when they edit. And that's the thing. Everyone's selective. Everyone is super selective when they're editing. What is the story that you want to tell? What is the tone of your video? Because yeah, there are these really nice, beautiful places, but you also do have to go through some really nasty stuff. You do have to get outside of the city. And then there are some cool places. There are some, but it's I don't know. I feel like I'm sort of showing you how the sausage gets made. Maybe you don't necessarily want to know. So, oh, right. Yeah, this is what I wanted to show you. So there's this nice field of rapeseed, right? Um, and just before this little field right here, this is what it looked like. Maybe about 5 or 6 minutes ride away from that, it looked like this, like trash heaps right here, and then you've got lots of construction, some half demolished buildings that have sort of been abandoned, lots and lots of cement trucks and dump trucks and stuff like that, and there's like a production facility for I think some aviation companies. And right there, just to the left, you can see that train track, that elevated train. The field that I showed you was just right above there. So it's so crazy how fast things can really change. Like things can really change that quickly. So you go from this brand new sort of road, it's dusty and not so great, to that just that giant field that I showed you a second ago. And oh, and what I showed at the beginning, this one right here. Yeah, this one. Okay, so here's another snippet of that. So just across the street from that. So we'll take a look there. So we have this half abandoned building right here, and oh, a little abandoned little viewing platform right here or something. Check that out. Oh, and there you go. That's nice. That's a nice moment. I liked capturing that. Yeah, so it looks like they used to play cards or like mahjong or something right here. There's a Buddha. Yeah, it's. There you go. Yeah, what did that say? Oh, so this is like invite the customers in to relax. And this might be the view that you would see. Right, and then you pan over, and that looks good. I hear people. Yeah, and that looks to have been a shrine right there. What might have been a shrine? Tons of shrines in that area, in all these abandoned houses that we went through, that were scheduled for demolition. And then there's the nasty part. Yeah, that's not so nice. When you tilt up just a little bit, the camera adjusts the lighting, and so you don't quite see the color of the water. But then if you tilt down, yeah, it's super green and not so nice. There's too many. I think it's just there's too many fertilizers being used in the fields around there, and so it's causing this algae bloom. So then you've got like this little bit of the countryside as well, right? This little bit of the countryside is being worked by this farmer, and it's very picturesque and all of that. And it is. It was a peaceful kind of road. It was quiet, secluded. You zoom out, and then there's this kind of pile of litter, and then this bit right here, this little enclosure, is actually an open kind of garbage collection place, so that people throw their garbage in there. And then you can see the city in the background right there. I'm not sure if that's Chengdu or if that's the next suburb over. And I like this as well. This is a nice little shot. This is a nice little bit of farmland just right next to the city. Talks to people. And that's his whole channel. He's just talking to local people because they all. Oh, I'm telling my friend James about Baldwin Bankrupt, who, in my opinion, is the best travel vlogger that there is. Yeah. So this is a cool little bit right here. I liked this road for a while because there's a little like fish pond, or what used to be a fish pond. There's some other things being grown on the right side, and then you're just kind of wondering, where is this going? We had no idea where this was going. Like, is this like a little logistics place, or is this like just farmers? Is this what? And then like this area is going to be demolished really soon. And then as we get further and further back, more and more of these places they've already been demolished. And we were actually looking for a temple. We were cycling on this road looking for a temple. And we couldn't find it because I think the temple had been demolished as well. It was a Buddhist temple, but yeah, I think it had been demolished as well. So yeah, there's just so many houses that have been you know either demolished or scheduled for demolition. But then, not too far away, you've got really nice places like this. So, it's hard for me as a vlogger because I want to portray things in a really nice way, um, and show the countryside in a sort of more romantic um, kind of view and more positive view because I'm a very positive person. Um, but there comes a point where you have to just like say, hey, look, it's not everything's pretty, right? It all comes down to editing, and I think when it comes to because these places are beautiful. I mean, look right here, like none of this is a lie, right? None of this is a lie. Nobody's lying. Like it's super beautiful, but you've got to be honest. Um, you got to be honest, uh, yeah, at least every once in a while, and just tell people like, hey, this this is the way that it is. Some parts are really really nice, and some parts are you know being torn down. People are being relocated. The farms are being demolished because they want to build a highway, or they want to build more hotels, or they want to build more logistics or shipping centers or things like this. You just got to be honest. So yeah, because these places are all like right next to each other. Like the countryside is becoming like more and more pocketed, like villages used to be. Villages used to just kind of be everywhere, and then now they're becoming sort of pocket villages around Chengdu. And then now the pocket villages are disappearing, and they're kind of everyone's being kind of sucked into the city. Everyone's being sucked into larger communities. Everyone's being kind of concentrated. The population's being concentrated. So, I feel like when I see places like this, I feel like hey, we better film this because this is going to be gone in a couple of years. This is going to be gone in a couple of years. Um, Absolutely. So I do think it's important, kind of what I was talking about with the ancient towns. The ancient towns are, I think, important to visit. The ancient villages and stuff around, Sichuan or wherever, they're important to visit because, they things are going to change very quickly. These roads like this, these lonely country lanes are going to change. They're going to develop. So it's, little scenes like this right here. I love that shot. I love that shot. It's gonna things will be different. So I want to I want to document it while it's still this way. I don't know if it's necessarily like glorifying the countryside or glorifying or becoming, yeah, like a lead Zichi kind of thing. I don't want to do that. I don't want to um, sell the fantasy, right? I want to show like, hey, you can find these places. Like, I went out into a field and I was trying to explain, a little bit about these plants and what they're used for and this and that. And then my microphone failed, and so I had to kind of present it this way. Um, we went out into this rapeseed field, and I was trying to show things, what it was like over there. Um, but yeah, but I don't want to just say, look, this is like realistic. This is what only a like fraction of people in China live like. Um, this is not most people's lives in China. Let's just be real about it. And also, if you want to go to these kinds of places, it's not as easy as you think, right? It's not as easy as you think, but there are some really cool places like this right here. Like this is a fish pond. Um, so there's a fish pond where they farm fish. They send it into the city, and they also there's another pond. The next pond over has like crawfish and things like this. And so we were going to go and talk to the farmer, and then the dog was going crazy. So didn't want to mess with that dog. Everyone in the countryside's got dogs, like guard dogs and stuff. So I didn't want to mess with it. And then I tried to do a little bald and bankrupt style. I was talking with this lady. Oh man, I apologize for how shaky that is. Um, but yeah, I was talking with her about what plants she was growing, and just what was going on for the day. What she had on the agenda. Um, just in a sort of realistic way. I've got no intentions of trying to make a fantasy, I suppose, because this is life. This is not a fantasy. This is life. So yeah. Oh, I quite like this. I think this is where I actually had my gimbal. I was actually using my gimbal. So um, yeah, these last couple of rides have not been the best. They've not been the best. There have been so many. There have been little pockets of countryside like this that I quite enjoyed. Like this was a couple of there were a couple of cool. Um, oh right, yeah, I forgot the dogs that yeah they chased us on this road yesterday. There were a couple of dogs. I have that on video somewhere. It might be on in this video segment. But yeah, but yeah, yeah. This was a nice little pocket, and then I've got a couple of others. Oh, right here, right here was where the temple was supposed to be. Right there. So either across on the left side across the street, or this patch, this little tarp right in front of me. That was where that temple that we were looking for the other day was supposed to be. But no, apparently that temple is gone. It was called Shemphos, so the immortal Buddha temple. I checked on several different map apps, and it was supposed to be yeah right there. And so we parked, and I tried to go find a farmer to talk to and say like, hey, where's the temple? I don't know, but yeah, this is me just trying to like point out. And again, I apologize for how shaky this is. This camera doesn't have any image stabilization, and boy, taking a gimbal on a biking trip is not fun. It's not easy. But yeah, I was trying to walk through, and then I was going to go in there and try and find the farmer, and then the dog started going nuts because again, all farmers have dogs. So yeah, so I don't know. I don't know what happened to that temple. Um, we did find another temple. Yeah, that was another thing. Beside one of those dusty kind of new roads, we found a temple dedicated to this guy from the Song Dynasty. One of these weird, there are all these weird moments that you experience on these kinds of trips. Um, so you know, it's it's a very much a you win some, you lose some. You will come across some stuff like this that is completely unexpected. You will come across things that you are expecting, right? And you also come across things that you don't necessarily want to see, such as, these buildings that are up for demolition. These buildings that have already been demolished. These people who've been relocated to other places. Um, but you do see some interesting stuff. Here, I'll show one more video here. Show one more video here. This is of a house that we came across just in the middle of that little bit of countryside I just showed you. Yeah, this is actually we found a little mud brick house out here in the countryside. Unfortunately, kind of demolished. That's house. So yeah, this was interesting because it was clearly a very very old house, but there have been like modern additions to it because you see like the modern bricks on the right side of it, and then you can see modern door frames and modern this, but like very traditional in how these bricks, the
Here
original
in the
bricks were
countryside,
made, and
unfortunately,
the roof tiles as well.
kind of demolished. Let's go in and have a, yeah.
The shrine is back.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. And that last trip, we were seeing shrines in just about every home.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I was gonna try and compile some kind of urban exploration video for the stream today, but I didn't have time. But yeah, so many of these houses that we went into in the last couple of rides, like we went into 6 or 7 different like houses, and they all had shrines in them. So you have very, very traditional countryside houses and life, I guess, that they all had shrines.
Oh yeah.
This one had a well
Yep.
in the house.
It's going. Whoa. Yep.
Well,
Holy shit. Yeah, it's a well. Yeah, it's pretty deep. Pretty deep.
It's probably 40 feet deep. Yeah.
someone cleaned it recently. They don't look that bad.
Yeah, and so this is one of the
Yeah, well,
modern.
I mean, I don't think this house is
additions.
particularly, like, it's not been abandoned for a super long time, maybe a couple of years.
I've never seen wood fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah, and there's like pieces of. Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
there's
there
like
was, like,
plants in here as well
straw.
to just
Yeah, there's straw.
give it a
and
little bit of
leaves.
fiber, stuff like that. So it's like mud and like reeds and stuff that they pulled
Yeah.
out of the ponds. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. It's a shame that the rest of this area is so nasty, though.
Yeah, yeah, it was really a shame because like that area, like just to the left there was what I showed before. It had like the pond and all that. It had a couple of ponds and there was some nice farmland and a couple of cottages and stuff. And then this area had been just totally cleared out. And then back behind there were a lot of like excavators and dump trucks and things like that. Was where they were, like that was like the what do you call that? The depot, I guess. So it was like sort of the home base for all of that stuff. Just right there. Yeah, it was. It's a really sobering kind of thing to see when you see just how many of these places, how many houses are abandoned like this. I mean, it's cool to see the architecture, but you know, it's also one of those things like uh, this is part of development, right? Things can't stay, traditional like this forever, can they? To what degree should we protect these kinds of things, or should we protect them at all? Like, start thinking about like, what about the greater good and this and that? Like, what is the greater good? There's so many like debates that you can have about this sort of thing. So yeah, and I'm always trying to figure out where I sort of stand on these kinds of issues. Um, but at least kind of what I think of is, or the way that I think about it is like, at least let's go out and film it. Let's go out and just show what it's like right now, even if I'm not necessarily comfortable taking one side or the other side, or if there even really are two sides. I don't know. It's just something I've been thinking about. So yeah, that was yeah, that's summed up the last couple of rides that we've been doing. So I don't know if anyone like really reads Chinese or really knows much about Chengdu, but if anyone's curious where we've been going, basically like I live kind of right in the middle of town. Basically, I live kind of right over here. My friend James, who goes with me, lives about over here, and the area that you just saw was kind of in this area. So it's in sort of the gray zone that I was talking about before, in between the third and the fourth ring road. We were kind of going all through here and up here as well. I did a ride about a year ago up here above above this park, and it was all demolished. It was all gone. So this is all gone. This is in the gray zone. This is in the gray zone as well. So I think all of this kind of segment will be gone. I don't know if you can even see my cursor or not, but like this entire like segment is gone. And then we also wrote up here, some of the footage that you saw was up this way as well. So all of this, and all of this has been kind of modernized. So, or it's going to be modernized. All this and this and this is all city basically. There's still one or two little pocket villages up here. There's one or two pocket villages up here and up here, but most of this is all being modernized. I'd like to write out here sometime, but who knows? Who knows? I will try to. I'm going to throw those videos up on my Patreon as sort of standalone videos, as well as the channel members section, and I'll put them up in the Discord as well. So, if you want to see those little montages, you can check those out, and I'll eventually try to kind of splice them into some sort of like full form video. I just had so many problems in the edit with one of those videos in particular. It's so many problems with sound and with lighting, like the exposure. But yeah, I'll find a way to get those to you all. But yeah, I'll send them out raw to my patrons and channel members first, and just throw them up in the Discord. But yeah, that'll be about it. Yeah, everyone, thank you all very much for watching. Again, if you want to be in the book club, links will be everywhere. They're in the chat, and I'll put them in the description as well as in the first comment. I'll pin the comment. But yeah, that'll be it. Thank you all very much for watching. I'm going to get to bed. I'm getting tired. And thank you all for your love and support. I'll see you all. I'll see y'all when I see you. All right.